At the birthday party, my son showed up with a bruise under his eye. My sister's son smirked and said, "I just taught him a lesson. My parents say I'm never wrong anyway." Everyone laughed it off. But then my son quietly said something, and the whole table fell silent. My sister dropped the glass in her hand. "Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. I'd love to know who's part of our community." I sat frozen, watching the Pinot Noir bleed into the white tablecloth. My sister Bella stared at the shattered glass as if it were the only broken thing in the room. But I knew better. My son Ezra stood at the head of the table, small for 12. His face pale except for the angry purple mark on his cheekbone. He wasn't crying. He was waiting. Waiting to see if I would do what I always did. Smooth it over and keep the peace. Across the table, my parents, James and Christina, were already rearranging their faces into masks of performative concern. Not for Ezra, but for the scene disrupting their perfect harvest festival tableau. My nephew Maverick, 15 and wearing entitlement like a second skin, leaned back, looking bored with violence. "Oh, for heaven's sake," my mother said, her voice tight. "Let's not be dramatic. Boys roughhouse. It's how they learn." "Exactly," my father added. "Toughens them up. You want Ezra to run this orchard one day, don't you, Emily? Can't be soft in this business." For 34 years I had been the peacekeeper, the one who absorbed the shocks so the family structure wouldn't crack. I was the head horticulturist of Willow Creek Orchards, knowing the soil of every acre, while Bella, the real estate agent, showed up for photo ops. I had normalized the friction of being undervalued, convincing myself that keeping the peace was a virtue. That is the trap of normalization. You tell yourself the cruelty is just family tradition because doing something about it is terrifying. But tonight, looking at Ezra's face, that callus ripped off. "He didn't just hit me," Ezra said, his voice quiet but clear. "Bella told him to." Bella's head snapped up. "Ezra, don't tell lies. That's ugly." "I'm not lying," Ezra said, looking straight at me. "She said I was too weak. She said if I cried, it proved I couldn't handle the legacy." I stood up. The chair scraped harshly against the floor. "Maverick," I said, my voice flat and clinical. "Did your mother tell you to hit Ezra?" Maverick shrugged, avoiding my eyes. "I was just toughening him up." "Did she tell you to?" "Emily, stop it," my father barked. "You're ruining the dinner. Sit down." "No." The word hung there. Absolute. I had never said it to him before. "I'm taking Ezra home. We're done." "You walk out that door," my mother warned, trembling with the threat of social embarrassment. "And don't expect us to come chasing after you." "It feels like a setup," I said, looking at Bella, who was more concerned with the wine on her dress than her nephew's face. I took Ezra's hand and led him out of the dining room, past the portraits of our ancestors. We walked out into the cool autumn night. I didn't cry or scream. I drove us to our small cottage on the edge of the property. "Mom?" Ezra asked as I handed him an ice pack. "I'm sorry I ruined dinner." "You didn't ruin anything. You told the truth. That's brave." I went to the kitchen and stood in the dark. The anger wasn't hot. It was cold, settling into my bones. I had been protecting the wrong things, their feelings, their image, their lies. I should have been protecting my son. Failure is just data telling you to change your variables. I wasn't going to be the peacekeeper anymore. I went to my laptop and opened the orchard's financial records. Bella didn't do anything without a reason. If she was trying to prove Ezra was weak, it wasn't just cruelty. It was strategy. If she wanted a war, she was going to get one. But she wasn't going to get screaming. She was going to get accounting. The next morning, the air in the processing barn was thick with the scent of crushed apples. I was checking pressure gauges when the door slid open. Bella stood there in heels that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. "We need to talk," she said. "This isn't drama, Emily. This is business." She slapped a folder onto the metal work table. "Read it." Purchase agreement was printed in bold. The buyer was a development firm specializing in luxury condos. 3.2 million, she said. Cash offer. They want to tear down the barns and build a gated community. The Orchard Estates. This land has been in our family for 4 generations. We don't sell. We do when the heir apparent is a crybaby, she sneered. Face it, Ezra isn't built for this. He cares more about grafting twigs than running a business. And Maverick isn't a visionary. My solution is to cash out while the market is hot. Mom and Dad are on board. They see Ezra as a dead end. So you set this up, I said. I accelerated the timeline, she shrugged. Dad was wavering. I just needed to show him his legacy was already dead. Ezra crying at the table was the nail in the coffin. Sign the preliminary consent, Emily. Don't be the obstacle. She walked out, leaving the folder. $3.2 million. Freedom. Easy. But then I thought about Ezra and the sapling he had been nurturing for 2 years. A rare heritage variety he called the Survivor. I grabbed the folder and went to the nursery. Ezra was kneeling in the dirt, staring at a broken pot. The sapling was snapped in half, the root ball kicked apart. Maverick came by, he whispered. He said land is for growing money, not sticks. I looked at the destroyed tree, then at the drone sitting on the workbench nearby. Its green light was blinking. Ezra, I asked steadily, were you filming? I wanted a time-lapse of the graft healing. Is it still recording? He nodded. I picked up the drone and popped the SD card out. My hands were steady. Precise. Come on. We have work to do. I plugged the SD card into my laptop back at the cottage. The screen flickered to life. Ezra sat beside me, gripping his chair. I clicked the most recent file. The video started high, a sweeping view of the orchard canopy, the legacy Bella wanted to pave over. Then the drone descended. Ezra had been piloting it toward the nursery. And then they walked into the frame. Maverick looked different on camera. Reluctant. He was kicking at the dirt, shoulders hunched. Bella was pacing in her immaculate cream coat. She grabbed Maverick's arm tight. I turned the volume up. The audio was sharp. You're not leaving until it's done, Mav. Mom, come on. It's stupid. It's not stupid. It's necessary. Grandpa needs to see that Ezra is weak. If he doesn't break, we don't get the sale. If we don't get the sale, there is no money. I don't want to hit him. Do you want that truck? The Ford Raptor you've been begging for? Maverick looked down. Yes. Then earn it. Make him cry. Make sure Grandpa sees it. If you look soft, you're walking to school until you graduate. The video continued. Ezra walked into the frame. Maverick stepped forward, shoving him, kicking the pot, delivering the punch. I paused the video on Bella's face. She wasn't horrified. She was watching with the critical gaze of a director. Ezra let out a shaky breath. She bought him with a truck to hurt me. I looked at the frozen image. I realized this was narcissistic extension. Bella didn't see Maverick as a son. She saw him as a tool. An extra limb to be wielded for her goals. She didn't care about the moral injury she was inflicting on him. She only cared that the hammer hit the nail. Maverick wasn't just the villain. He was the first victim, held hostage by his mother's greed. It wasn't about you, Ezra, I said softly. It was because she needed a show. I felt a strange sensation. The chaotic anger was gone, replaced by something surgical. There was no family to break up. There was just a predator and her prey. And I had the evidence. Mom, what are we going to do? We're going to make copies, I said. And then we're going to accept the invitation for the family meeting tomorrow. Bella wants to talk about the sale. Fine. Let's talk. I wasn't going to shout. I was done trying to appeal to their hearts. I was going to appeal to the only thing they understood. Leverage. The family meeting was held in the main house's formal living room, a space designed for appearances, not living. James and Christina sat on the love seat, a united front of disapproval. Bella sat in the armchair, tapping her nails impatiently. Maverick was slumped in the corner, knee bouncing. Thank you for coming to your senses, Emily, my father said. It's the responsible decision. I didn't say I was ready to sell, I said, setting my laptop on the coffee table. I said I was ready to talk. The offer expires in 48 hours, Bella snapped. We need to sign today. We're not signing anything. Don't be difficult, my mother sighed. Ezra isn't cut out for this. He doesn't have the grit. Grit, I repeated. Is that what we're calling it? I plugged the HDMI cable into their massive TV. I'm showing you what grit actually looks like. I hit play. The crisp drone footage filled the screen. The beauty of the trees and then the voices. Do you want that truck? The Ford Raptor you've been begging for. Bella's voice filled the room. My father stiffened. My mother gasped. Maverick stopped bouncing his knee and looked up, pale. Then earn it. Make him cry. Make sure Grandpa sees it. On screen, Maverick shoved Ezra. The pot shattering sounded like a gunshot. I paused the video on the frame where Bella watched, arms crossed. The silence was absolute. Heavier than the guilt I had carried for years. Turn it off, Bella hissed, standing up. That's out of context. Out of context. Asked steadily. You bribed your son to assault his cousin to manipulate our father into selling his legacy. Which part is out of context? My father stood up slowly, looking older than I had ever seen him. Is that true? He asked Bella, his voice a whisper. Did you tell him to do it? Dad, I did it for us. Bella cried. The orchard is dying. Ezra is weak. I was saving us. You used my grandson as a punching bag, my father said heavily. He turned to Maverick. Is that true, son? Did she promise you a truck? Maverick looked at his mother, then his grandfather. The bravado was gone. Yes, he whispered. She said if I didn't do it, I was walking to school. My mother started to cry, real, ugly sobbing. The illusion of her perfect family shattered. You're sick, my father said to Bella. Get out. What? Bella stepped back. It's $3 million. I did this for you. You did it for yourself, I said. You didn't care about the legacy or mom and dad. You just wanted the cash. I am the only one who knows how to run this business, she screamed. Emily plays in the dirt. I make the deals. You make deals by hurting children, I said. And you're done. I've already sent a copy of this footage to my lawyer and to Child Protective Services. Coercing a minor to commit assault is a crime, Bella. Bella went white. You called CPS. I protected the children in this family since no one else would. My father opened the door, refusing to look at her. Leave, Bella. She looked around the room, seeing only broken alliances. You'll regret this, she spat at me. You'll run this place into the ground. Maybe, I said. But I'll do it with clean hands. She stormed out. The slam of the door echoed like a gavel. Emily, my mother wept. She's your sister. She's an abuser. And Maverick is a victim. He needs help, Mom. Not a truck. I looked at Maverick. I'm sorry I had to show that. But you don't have to be her tool anymore. He nodded, tears spilling over. I picked up my laptop and walked to the door. My father stopped me. Emily. I didn't know. You didn't want to know, I corrected him. You wanted the easy narrative. It was easier than looking at the truth. I walked out into the sunlight. The orchard stretched before me. The rot had been cut out. Now the healing could begin. The weeks that followed were a blur of legal proceedings. I hired a temporary manager so I could focus on the battle. Bella tried to claim the video was doctored, but the evidence was overwhelming. Maverick's testimony to the caseworker painted a picture no lawyer could spin. James and Christina retreated into shame, stopping their social appearances. The narrative they had built their lives around collapsed. They sent me letters filled with excuses about generational pressure, but I didn't respond. An apology without change is just manipulation. Maverick was sent to live with his father in another state. Before he left, he mumbled an apology to Ezra, and Ezra nodded, the first green shoots of healing. Bella lost her real estate license and moved to the city, leaving behind the wreckage of her ambition. 6 months later, the orchard was dormant for winter. I walked through the nursery with Ezra. He was holding a grafting knife, his movements precise. We stopped at the pot where the survivor used to be. "Look, Mom," Ezra said, pointing to the graft union. Where the wood had been snapped, he had spliced a new scion from the strongest tree in the orchard. The wound had healed, forming a callus stronger than the original wood. New buds were pushing through. "It took," he whispered. "It did. You saved it. It's different now," he said. "It's not the same tree." "No," I said. "It's stronger. This is the justice of the sower. It's not about burning down the field because of weeds. It's about the patient work of pruning the rot so the roots can breathe. It's understanding that true strength isn't force. It's resilience. It's the ability to take something broken and graft new life onto it." Bella thought value only came from cash transactions. She was wrong. The value is in the soil, in the patience, in the hands that know how to heal a wound. "What should we call it now?" Ezra asked. I looked at the sign swaying in the wind. The old name felt heavy. "How about New Roots Heritage Orchard?" I suggested. Ezra smiled. "I like it." "Good," I said. "Let's go make the sign." We walked back to the cottage, leaving the old house behind. The sun was setting, casting long shadows, but I wasn't afraid of the dark. I knew that underneath the soil, the roots were deep and finally truly free. If this story resonated with you, please share it. You never know who needs to hear that it's okay to prune the rot to save the tree.